fatal heart impacts, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're just freaked out. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kiru's show here. And now, whenever we last left off, a short little recap. 10 years have passed since we last saw Midoriya. In that time, his family has grown more. Along with that, there has been some other things going on with more people. Todoroki is alive because he was fully absorbed by Cell, and his soul was able to pass on to the other world. Him being revived whenever they use the Dragon Balls to revive everybody killed by Cell. Now, Midoriya would have hoped there was a chance for him to also bring back his parents. However, talking with Shenron, he found out that that was impossible. Now then, with that being said, they are at the World Budokai Tenkaichi Tournament, or the World Martial Arts Tournament. And Bakugo's family and himself are participating. Now, Midoriya's kids are also participating, and everyone is surprised to see the world-famous family. Now, Midoriya's family, they have somewhat lived out in the countryside in seclusion from everybody else. Midoriya owns a vast amount of property, and people who do set foot on Midoriya's property and try and get an interview or talk with him are quickly turned away. They have seen the man and his family. However, a lot of rumors did begin to spread, since Midoriya was not taking interviews, this being seen as his first public appearance, when in reality, Midoriya was taking care of his family and going through extensive training with the knowledge he learned back on Mina's planet. Now then, let us pick up with the next match. Midoriya and Bakugo are both staring down at each other. They have both fought numerous opponents already, and it's beginning to get narrow, as we actually do have the next match. Bakugo actually smirking and bringing his hand up. As Midoriya, he actually just stares back at Bakugo. Both of these two, seemingly, both curious as to the outcome. As Midoriya's daughter Hope does walk on the stage and face off against Kaito, Bakugo's son. Now, a lot of people do hear about this match, and some of them think that it's going to be over fairly easily. In comparison to these two children, their powers and feats of strength might be different. People voting on Hope to win. Now, with that being said, the match actually does begin, and Hope does actually ask Kaito if he is ready to fight. Kaito actually just rushing forwards, going to throw out his hands to fight. Now, if you were a normal person, you would not be able to see what is currently happening, being able to just see vague images or after images, and hearing the force of their punch, as the two actually do begin to go back and forth. Midoriya actually a bit more impressed with Kaito, watching his daughter. The two actually fighting a bit more intensely. You can tell that they're both taking this somewhat serious, as they actually do go airborne. And Hope actually does power up a bit more. Now, Kaito also does do the same, revealing his own aura, as he actually does go to attack Hope, being able to get a surprise hit on her whenever he does actually disappear from her point of view, before reappearing behind her and throwing out a kick, As soon as that does happen, she gets hit in the side, but quickly grabs him by his leg, and swings her right arm backwards to try and punch him in the face. Him actually bringing up his arm and blocking it. Before with his other hand, he actually does hit her directly in the back. And Bakugo himself does actually think that that was a bit of a dirty move. But it does seem like he might win. Hope actually flying forwards and almost hitting the ground, as she does actually throw her hands out in front of her and blast beams. This sending her flying backwards as she actually does bring her, bend her back straight and go rocketing back towards Kaido. As soon as she actually does come in, she disappears, quickly reappearing behind him as she actually does sock him and kick him directly in the face, sending him flying back down into the ring. Him smashing down on it before he actually does go to get back up. Now, before he can even get on his feet, Hope actually does go flying in, and she goes to throw a punch directly at him. As soon as she does, however, Kaito quickly brings his hands up and grabs her by her fist, before powering up more. This actually surprises Midoriya as he watches Kaito, or the young boy, turn into a Super Saiyan, his hair sparkling golden. Midoriya quickly realizing what that does mean, before turning to Bakugo and asking exactly what is that. Oh, so you've taken notice. Well, Midoriya, you know what that old saying is? If you can't beat them. Did you really use the Dragon Balls to do this? I could have. Then again, those are only a rumor, remember? So, you went back to the lookout and found Dende, didn't you? Dende? Well, of course. He helped me out. While you were busy with your family, I gathered them and made a wish. So, after what happened with Cell, I'm not being left behind. Not only do I have a new Saiyan body, so does Kirishima and Kendo. Now, this is actually quite curious. Midoriya asking Bakugo, exactly when did he become a Saiyan? Well, Midoriya, I am not going to get left behind. Plus, I'm not just going to leave this planet's safety in your hands. Especially with the fact that with those Saiyans, hell. If they do decide to attack this world again, I will at least be ready to defend it. Besides, even then I've taken my own natural precautions to make sure I don't get left behind. Now, Kirishima actually does speak up, saying that what Bakugo is trying to say is, they're gonna help Midoriya defend the planet. Even if it means becoming Saiyans technically, but hey, he doesn't really have to worry about that. Besides, they've actually been able to catch up quite easily. They've been doing their own training, and especially with certain augmentations they have, it does allow them to reach specialized forms easier. That's not a good idea. Kendo actually asks Midoriya what does he mean. Midoriya explaining that Saiyan genetics are kind of strange, and in fact they're very weird. Him actually pointing out back to the match, as we do see Hope, who is currently at Super Saiyan. Her actually beating the shit out of Kaito, as she does actually have him held by one hand, using her other hand to sock him across the face. And Bakugo, he's a bit more angry at that, shouting at Kaito not to lose, and to go a bit further. Now, this is actually very interesting, as the match does eventually have to end. And I do want to declare the winner being Hope. She has far more years of experience than Kaito. Along with that, she actually does have greater potential than him, since Kaito is only half Saiyan. Bakugo, Kendo, and Kirishima, they didn't want to become full Saiyans, since they don't know what that would do to them. They don't know if they would have their minds change or, well, mess up. So, they did undergo specialized tests before and after, and they still do go underneath those tests. Certain things have changed, but not completely. Now, with all that being said, more matches do continue, up until it's time for a specialized one. The Emperor actually watching with a bit more enthusiasm, as he himself does actually land on the planet, and conceal his own energy, making his way to the arena. Now, whenever he actually does get there, he does watch the final match that will be taking place. It is not the finals, but it's going to be the last one that people will be seeing, as Midoriya and Bakugo do face off. Midoriya bringing up his hands and getting into a stance. Bakugo doing the exact same thing. Now, Bakugo himself actually does power up to Super Saiyan, and Midoriya actually does watch that. Bakugo then telling Midoriya to power up himself. This form is easy. In fact, they can take it another step further. But for right now, let's at least keep this civilized, he says. Yeah. Midoriya actually has listened. Him powering up and transforming. The Emperor watching with a bit more amazement, as the two do go rushing at each other and begin to fight. Now, the two are up in the air, and they look to be going blow for blow, both fighting against each other and trying to take each other down. Now, during the match, Midoriya does actually watch Bakugo, as he does seem to be keeping up and getting a bit faster. Now, Bakugo, he did actually keep a few augmentations within his body, and some of them are actually bio-enhanced, meaning that he does still have artificial parts in his body, not cybernetics. However, there is one specific piece of technology that he does have that is not bio-enhanced, the Infinity Engine. Now, with that being said, Bakugo and Midoriya still do begin to go back and forth, and eventually the two actually do get into a bit of a punching match. The two throwing fists at each other as fast as they can and as hard as they can. Both these two just going knuckle for knuckle, blow for blow, for a few minutes, before actually jumping backwards away from each other as Midoriya actually does bring up his hand in charge of blast. Now, as this fight is going on, Midoriya, before he can even throw out the blast, he quickly does have his hand actually get turned over, and the blast gets sent flying up into the air. Where Midoriya, confused, he does actually turn to see the man who grabbed his arm. Now, the man who did it was this man, as he actually does go on stating that Midoriya has done phenomenally. So, you are the one who is the champion, are you not? Midoriya confuses the man lets go of his arm. Now, Midoriya actually just pulls his right arm away, asking exactly who is he. My, it appears that I am not known here. Quite fascinating. Allow me to introduce myself. I am the Emperor of the Universe. Now, that actually does take Midoriya back quite a bit. What? No, you're not. Yes, I am. In fact, I came to investigate this little rumor known as free space. It took me some time to find it. However, imagine my shock whenever I did find a Saiyan on Earth. And this place quite is a bit more interesting. Him then actually looking over and seeing the crowd, stating that he also did hear a rumor about a demon, and that was what piqued his own interest. He wants to see where this demon is, and most likely Midoriya might know where. Does he not? Listen, I need you just to get out of the ring and let me finish my fight. Midoriya going to push the man by his chest, going to push him out of the ring. The man quickly bringing his hand up and grabbing Midoriya by his own throat, before lifting him up off the ground. Now, Midoriya is actually surprised and taken aback by the man's strength, as he actually just lifts Midoriya up and begin to take flight. Now, Midoriya does actually begin to show off a bit more of his own power, being able to actually grab the man by his own arm and begin to put his own strength down on it. The man exclaiming that Midoriya is nothing more than an ant underneath his shoe. He is the ruler of this universe. Nothing will change that. Now, he then does actually let go of Midoriya. Midoriya actually just moving backwards and actually getting a bit more on the defensive. Crap. He's gonna have to get a lot more serious with this guy. Him actually powering up to Super Saiyan 2, as the Emperor actually has applauded Midoriya on his own strength, telling him, however, that that will be useless. Now, before I do continue, I will try and be civilized about this. I am expanding my empire, and in fact, your little place known as free space. It will be brought into my own empire. Afterwards, you will serve under me. Do you understand? Now, Midoriya is actually quite a bit more pissed off to hear about that. Him actually just shouting at the Emperor that that is not gonna happen. In fact, he's the Emperor, right? Truthfully? Have I not already explained this? Good. Now, before Midoriya can even continue, Bakugo actually has come rushing in, going to sock the man across his face. Now, as soon as Bakugo actually does bring his hand up and smash the man across the face, the man quite simply does one thing. After Bakugo punched him, he simply just looks back at Bakugo, bringing his hand up, grabbing Bakugo by his own face, and moving almost instantaneously towards the ground, smashing Bakugo's head clean into the earth. Now, after that has happened, he actually has come back up to float at Midoriya's eye level, explaining to him that he's very sorry about that. He usually doesn't like to get violent. However, that man was quite irritating. Back to their lesson at hand. You will now serve under me. Do you understand? Not a chance in hell. Interesting. So, you have 1 month. Do you understand me? I will be visiting this planet and talking with people. Those who do not comply will be killed and destroyed. However, your own little strength, it will be useful to me. So, if you do not comply with me within 1 month's time, you will be killed. Otherwise, well, I believe I should make an example. Him bringing his hand up, and Midoriya watching, as all of a sudden the entire area is coated in a loud, well, flash. Now, Midoriya actually does look around, as the Emperor still does have his hand facing to his right. Meanwhile, everywhere else around them at the World Tournament Arena is destroyed. The only thing being left around Midori, the ring and a stadium portion to the right, where the Emperor held his hand out too. Everywhere around, well, was destroyed. And he just felt the massive loss of life. The Emperor then just walking towards him, if not just floating past him, explaining that resistance will be futile. And he is going to make another example. Just pay attention to the planets. Midori feeling a massive spike in ki for roughly 3 seconds, before he actually does go down towards the ground. And his hands do begin to shake. The man then smiling, before disappearing. And Midori actually does get a bit angry. That power level, it's not possible. How can somebody be that strong? It's insane. Now, this is whenever Vados does actually step in. Her actually appearing and explaining to Midoriya that that man is that powerful because of one simple thing. He is of a Majin race, a race created through magic. At one point in history, he was a weapon. Then, he rebelled, went against his creator, and simply became more. Decided that he wanted to do something. A place to take control over. For the last 10,000 years, the Empire has stood. And he's been feasting on power. Any race that pops up, that defies him, he destroys, consumes, and moves on. In fact, he targets particularly strong races. So, because of that, their universe has a particularly low power count compared to others. Now, with that being said, Midoriya actually does look around, and actually head back down to the ground, finding that Bakugo is alive, quickly healing him, and Bakugo getting back up onto his feet. A bit confused about what just happened, as we do have everyone else. They are all okay. It appears that Vados got them out of there before the explosion occurred, or whatever that strange thing was. So, the next threat Midori will be facing will be the Emperor of the very universe he lives in. A power massively greater than his own. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing night. I will catch you guys in the next part.